Thank you, Gail, for making this time to be with me in this conversation. As we were just saying, it's been a while that we've known each other. We work together in the Career Professionals of Canada group. Um, but it's so wonderful to be having a conversation face to face, though it's digitally distanced, but still we are talking. So how are you doing? How about you start with telling us a little bit more about what you do in your day to day?
I'd love to. So thank you for inviting me to chat. I've always admired the work that you do, and I think that's the powerful thing about LinkedIn and social media and membership is this amazing ability to find your flock no matter how far apart you are because you have common interests and common passions in the work that you do. So I have worked in the careers industry pretty well my entire adult life. My first career, I was actually a gymnastics coach. And just that coaching piece has just always been my connected common thread. I've worked as a job developer, facilitator, resume writer. I've been in private practice now with my own business for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I started it at 50, so clients who tell me they're I'm a little bit too old to start something, I have not very much tolerance for that. I'll always challenge them on that. So,
I am completely with you on that page.
yes,
There
yes.
is no age whatsoever
Oh,
to start anything new. And look at this. I'm not somebody who's faced the camera in terms of doing interviews, but hey, you got to evolve with your time and you got to respond to the need.
yes.
So
Yeah, I think
here I
society
am.
is just progressing that way. And I think people are happy to see um, the real people, the authentic people, not the facade. And, as much as career professionals, we encourage our clients to work on their brand and think about, what brand they're personifying online or in the workplace. At the end of the day, with COVID-19 happening, my husband's now working at home. So this is my office at home.
Mm-hmm.
But he does AutoCAD. So he's got this massive computer system in this room. So I said to him, honey, I'm going to be doing something online. So you're going to the craft room in the basement, not me.
Oh
So
my
we're
goodness.
all trying to, figure out how to make that make sense with the challenges of the times we're in.
It's funny, like same thing for me, but this is my office. This is my area where I'm always seated when I'm at work, working from home.
Yes.
But I have to kind of impose a partial curfew for everybody else when I'm doing this. Don't turn on the tap. Don't be in the kitchen. Don't be slamming doors. So
Yeah.
I have to do the same. And sometimes I'll tell them, okay, till after 6:30, I don't want you to be making a noise over here.
Yes. Yes.
So that happens, and they complain, but they live with it.
Yes. And I have to say, sometimes when I start working with people, they don't know how to use Zoom. And that's part of it. And they apologize. And I'm like, no, we want to figure this out now before you actually have to have a digital interview or interview via Zoom or Skype or whatever. There's going to be more and more of these fantastic portals that we can use. This is the time you want to figure it out, not moments before the perfect job interview comes along and you're scrambling. So I look at this as an open learning curve for everybody, and I think this opportunity to nurture our networks, explore technology, is one of the goods that comes from the challenges. And I always
yes, I agree, and
look
you're
for those
right,
things.
and you're so right that there is a lot of need in the community. We are going through very unpredictable, uncertain times,
Yeah.
and people are hurting. But at the same time, we have to focus on what can be done to
Yes.
move through. So tell me, how has this situation impacted your work and your family life?
So for my business, I actually had a crazy month of March. doing a very big project for the LINs with their restructuring to Ontario Health, working with their staff. We were doing a lot of the coaching virtually, so as much as they're working from home, it just worked out beautifully, really. So for April, I don't know, actually last night, I just decided on the weekend that all of my past clients, I'm giving them all free coaching calls if they're struggling. So I sent that out in a newsletter that challenged me to get it out because my newsletter was way, way overdue.
Yeah.
That's part of being a self-employed person. There's so much that you're learning and taking care of. And I just, sent a call out that said if you're struggling working from home, you're struggling with some anxiety, some uncertainty, what am I going to do next? I work with a lot of our entrepreneurs, so added them in the mix there also. So I just challenged myself with Calendly and got that hooked up to Zoom, and see, there's the challenge of technology right there.
Yeah.
And I think I figured that out. I may have to get my nephew to help me with that. This is my go-to guy. Family business, But that's the part that I'm doing for my clients this month. I think some people think we'll just wait and see. Well, I don't actually think waiting is good. I think inaction causes anxiety for people. Having a plan. We know, you and I as career professionals, the longer people are off and in limbo, the more difficult it is to get feeling confident, getting energy back, getting momentum for your job search. So I'm just really making April about how can I serve the people I've worked with in the past.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. It's so heartwarming to see the humanitarian side of people coming out, and they're giving freely in whatever way they can. There are so many ways that you can donate, but giving in kind with conversation, and sometimes it's just about listening. Doing that, it's so amazing. I'm so proud to be a part of the career professionals community. I know so many of from our community who are scheduling calls, who are giving free webinars. This is wonderful. So what do you recommend for people who are presently either in between jobs or were looking to start from afresh? What kind of structure would you recommend? Because you spoke to the structure. Let's thought that more.
So I would say it would be like anyone, regardless of the health challenges and scary time that we are in. I think this is a really good time when you actually have time to really get to reconnect with yourself, have a date with yourself, do some assessments, figure out your next step, whether you're working with a career coach or on your own. This is the chance, all of that big sky dreaming, we all, when we're busy working, just don't have time or energy to do. So to me, this gives us the gift of time to give to ourselves, to reconnect with our network out there and having social opportunities, talking with past coworkers, current coworkers. When we actually start looking for work, we talk a lot about the hidden job market. Well, this is the time where you actually want to start doing the research, connecting with the people who may end up giving you a referral or some inside information down the road. So I would say don't wait. Get your resume ready and targeted. I follow that 80-20 rule, that 80% of the work done on your resume now means 20% as you apply to each unique position at each unique company in each unique industry. So that 20 unique part will roll out as time goes on. So in LinkedIn, I am going to say it is so, so important for most occupations, not all, but most. I'm also an HR professional. I actually just got certified as a LinkedIn profile writer. I learned a lot about it from the recruiter's point of view. And this, to me, there's so much free training online. If you're going to be home, which we all are, or we should be, the internet, gosh, I just hope we don't blow it up. This is the chance to learn about LinkedIn, get an awesome profile put together. I have a great ebook I give clients on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to reach out to me, they can email me and I will send it off to them. And start nurturing your network on LinkedIn so you are ready at the gate when things change, because things are going to change. And I think it's going to be a kinder place. I do believe that this time of generosity, kindness, empathy that we're all reminding ourselves we should be all the time, I think it will have a halo effect and stay with us.
I hear you completely, because what you're saying is this was a wake-up call. People were so busy, they were so rushed. Now they have kind of had an opportunity to sit back and breathe and reflect on what were we doing. And that also brought forward so many acts of kindness. It is so heartwarming to see what's going on right now. I hope it does not take such a pandemic to bring that forward. We don't forget what we are doing right now.
I agree. I think a lot of people will return if they have drifted with faith, whatever that is for them. I think we all need to believe in at least people, and whether you're then connected to a certain form of religion, that's entirely personal. So
Yeah.
I do think, though, that this will make a difference. I think the family unit will make a difference. And people sometimes are asking about stress and how they're managing it. And so, it's kind of like we rented a cottage that we've never been able to afford. We are here together. 3 people live in this house: my husband, my daughter, my son is up in Ottawa area, and we are talking every day, Zooming. And I think it's a unique family unit that we get to redefine. We have more time to cook together. We have more time to share chores together. And in our little neighborhood, I live in a lovely little crescent. I've been here for 28 years. We had a little family or a little neighborhood meeting about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about who was vulnerable on our street, who was elderly. We have a family self-isolating. Their daughter was traveling in Amsterdam. That whole house is self-isolating. We are all, we now, rather than relegate on my veranda, we are now on the lawn where there is a much more distance, having coffee. We've done that the last couple afternoons, particularly when it's been sunny. So I think there's opportunity if you just be creative and look for positive ways forward. There are absolutely ways there. And I guess my worry is for the people who are very extroverted and they're used to very dynamic physical movement with their lives coming and going, they may find this more of a challenge, but you need to learn how to burn off that testosterone at home, exercising, walking, whatever that needs to look like, and to help cope with that and reach out. I mean, the great thing is, we also have telephones. We can reach out, talk, whether this is an option. And what we always have to remember is not every family has the internet. Not every family has a computer system. I've done a lot of work with clients using the Bridges Out of Poverty model, and it's always a reminder to me that we cannot just serve with this vehicle here of technology. We have to also serve people and give information not just on websites. We have to be able to communicate and go backwards in order to make sure everybody gets shepherded forward.
That's such a valid point, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. We do know people in our communities who go to the library to get either their homework done or work on their resumes and cover letters. There are women in the community who do not have the luxury of having a system for themselves. It's a shared space, and in terms of the priority, they probably come the last in, either it's the spouse or the partner doing work, or it's the kids who want to enjoy. Or if not, then it's maybe not the family has one phone and they don't even have internet. So in that cases, it's important for us to remember to connect with them over other means or in other ways.
Yeah.
Which is
to remind people that 211 is reached via your telephone. And if you're needing some community resources, some phone numbers to help you with some special screening or different information that's available to get us through, 211 is an excellent service through your phone. You just dial 211, and people have sort of forgotten about that service because we tend to go to the internet, but not everybody has that option.
No, I really vouch by 211. I've used it especially when I was a newcomer. I used to use that a lot, calling them, asking them questions. The other is the distress line, because the distress line you don't really need to call them, not go by the name, like when you are in distress, but even sometimes when you're challenged with certain resources and you don't know where to ask, because they are open 24/7, you could call them, and they could. Some people deal with anxiety and they don't want to share with family. Some people deal with depression and they don't know who to ask. So those could be.
Yes, and sometimes now that we are all more home, relationships can be strained. People need to be able to find their own space, their own outlet. Noise canceling headphones, I think, are a really good option for many people. For me, I'm fortunate. I have a backyard and I love outside, so I've been having my coffee break, crossing the stick outside, just for space, fresh air. It's so good for you to be outside, no matter the weather.
The air is so fresh and you can hear the birds. I've been reflecting on it. I don't hear the traffic anymore. I hear the calm, the wind. It's so nice.
Especially when you train your ears to listen for those things. And it's very important. And we do have less traffic on the road right now. There are less places we are going to, which is maybe it's a good thing too. Yeah.
So how do you?
So how are you managing with? How are you managing with everything?
My schedule is crazy, Gayle. I have a 9 to 5, so I structure my day. First week was difficult, I have to say, because we work from an office, so moving into working from home, and then finding that rhythm was getting me a bit antsy. But then after hours, mostly I work from home, and whether it was connecting with people, I have saved up this time that was spent on commute, an hour and a half, which I've utilized towards these interview recordings. That's how I have used, because I saw the need and I said, what can we do to overcome this? There was a lot of questions around, should we just stop the job search? There's been so many layoffs and all of that. So that was the motivating factor, that people need to know what can be done in the meantime. Well, now that you mentioned it, I have been reflecting on it. It's given me an opportunity to also meet with so many people who I had been connected with virtually for the longest time. Never had a chance to have a conversation. So this has been that time, which I'm very grateful for.
Yes. It's there is opportunity everywhere, and I think it's very challenging for some people. I think this is a good time to reflect on who your circle of influence is, who is your circle of support right now, and do some of those exercise, do a circle of friendship exercise, and reach out and communicate. And I do feel that for people who have been laid off, I posted a labor market report on that in our membership, and it is more marginalized people, unfortunately, but that is what's happening. And I live here in Collingwood, Ontario, and I live in a Four Seasons community. It used to be shipbuilding and manufacturing. All it has been farming. We have a huge, massive entrepreneurial hub in our community. But it's like my lady who comes and helps clean my business and my home. I just paid her last week anyway. I'm paying her this week anyway. She is non-essential, so she's not working. But it's those little gestures that can give people
make a big
hope
difference.
And connection, and a compliment and a thank you is so powerful. To thank people and acknowledge what you appreciate with them.
Absolutely. I so value what you just said here. You're such a kind and giving person. I'm so happy to be talking with you.
Thank you.
Now, let's turn the light on you, and if I was to ask you, if there was a magic wand, or if from the spirit or whatever faith you have, you wanted to ask something for yourself.
For me?
For you yourself, what would that be?
I have to say, I get very energized, refueled by helping other people. That is who I am. So to me, this month of April, I look at everything always in a basket. You need to self-check your basket. What are you doing that gives you good energy, and what's taking out energy? Mm-hmm. I love that our government is helping. I would love it if we just had more affirmative information on what that truly does look like and what's coming in people's homes. Mm-hmm. I think what I'm looking for, if I had a wand, is that I could actually give people more concrete information. Not everyone manages unknowns well. Mm-hmm. We've jokingly in the past, some career professionals I work, we used to call ourselves changeologists because we could change. It's our type. I'm an ENFP. Mm-hmm. I like change. I thrive on change. And I think you need to know yourself. So to me, that would be the wand that I would like, that opened the door of more concrete information. I know it's going to come. Mm-hmm. But for people who don't manage the waiting, the anxiety, the awfulize things, that to me would be a great piece of information to give people peace.
Wow.
And peace is hard.
It is.
Yeah. So when you're going through those challenging times, find people who are positive to talk with, not the naysayers of doom and gloom, because they can drain us. So yes. Fill that basket every day with positive people, positive affirmations about what wonderful things are happening. I've never really been a journaler, but I definitely reflect in the evening. I kind of think about what went great on the day, what didn't go so great, and then I make a plan for the next day. And then I definitely go through an exercise of gratitude and for what I'm thankful for. And it's one of the things I started doing. I actually sleep a lot better because I used to wake up in the middle of the night about what I forgot or some little thing, and I don't do that anymore. So that little brain dumping exercise has definitely helped me. Definitely.
That's such a great piece of advice to remember what you're grateful for, what went well, and what can be improved. Wow, that's such a great piece of advice for everyone, irrespective of what their life situation is. That can really be of use. So one last giveaway that you would want to leave for everyone.
I think this is time for learning. This time when, let's say you're laid off, which has happened a lot. This is an opportunity to learn. As much as our libraries aren't open right now here where we live, The online opportunities are there. Books are there. So I would say learn some technology, challenge yourself, energize yourself with learning. I think people who are home with their elementary age children or high school age children, learning together is great. I think we as adults forget how much our children will teach us. So be reciprocal in that. If you're someone who is challenged by the internet or challenged by technology, that's when that fabulous teenage kid can teach you. And then you're going to find them in the kitchen helping with meal prep and cooking. I think these are the gifts that we can build and create ourselves during these times and challenges. Definitely.
So beautiful. And again, I completely agree with you. I love learning from my kids.
Yes.
I constantly tell them that. And they laugh at me for it. And like, what do you mean? But the fact is, there are so many times I will call them to ask questions and ask their opinion, that I make sure that I let them know how valuable their advice is.
Yeah.
So this is a time where you're also showing the love and care that they deserve, and they need to know that they're loved and their advice is valued.
Yeah. And
Which
you know,
is-
I think right now we as adults get very stressed up because we don't know about money. We don't know about work. We're all home way more than we used to be 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago or 3 weeks ago. And I think it's really important that we remember our children will feel and see our stress. And I think we forget that they hear and they listen, they observe, they know. And I think checking yourself, maybe this is time for your whole family to learn about meditating, yoga, doing some mindfulness, listening in the living room with the lights low and everyone quiet, and create some new family habits, not just board games and magazine reading. One of the things we do at our house every weekend is art therapy, we call it. It's not anything structured. We just put everything out on the kitchen table and we create. No rules, no judgment, no plan, just be creative in our thinking and listen to some good music. Sometimes we don't. So I think we have opportunity to figure out how to connect our families so we're not all separated in different rooms doing different things, but playing together and learning together.
What a great way to loosen up. Thank you so much, Gayle. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to be talking
Yes.
to you.
Please make sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to keep updated with all our videos. Thank you.